Okay, this is the next in my series of KiCAD videos. Just making a little amplifier board, double-sided board, little IC here. So the next thing that I want to show is how to do an edge cut and to get that correct. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to be adding some graphic lines. So we get to our PCB, we go to add graphic line or polygon, and we want to add it to what's called the edge cuts layer. So this is a special layer that tells the manufacturer where the edges should be. I'm going to fit it to 25 mils grid, and I'm going to draw some lines from here to here. I'm going to then escape out of that. So you can see there's a yellow line been done there. I'm also going to do it, let's do it just on the outside. It looks like the dangerous prototypes is not quite fitting into our size of things. I'm going to finish there. I'm going to do one from there all the way to here. I'm going to do one from here all the way to here. Okay, so that gives us our some of our edges, but we've got these corners to do. What we need to do is add a graphic circle. So we want to let's have a go with this. When we click the right hand click, you get a circle that gradually increases in size. So you click it once. Just realise this isn't what we want. We don't want a whole circle, so we want to go in and delete that. What we actually want is to add an arc. This one here, let's try it out. So we click once, and then we can see we get an arc which we can expand, and we can also change its starting point. So that's what we get. So I'm going to actually click wherever I can here, and as I increase, because we are on a grid, it should snap to the right size grid. So there we go. You can see there it's done a nice curved corner. So I'm going to try that again and see what happens. Here it's not worked quite as well, so I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to start there. And I would say that is what we need to do. The problem here is there's a little bit there, so I'm going to just fill that. The next one here, let's see, hopefully this will fit. There we go, that fits fine. So, and this one, if we're lucky, that one fits fine too. So now we're going to save that just in case there's any problems. What I'm actually going to do, because there's a few things I want to do. I want to add some drill holes for these points here, which aren't yet in place. And then I'm going to remove this PCB edge thing because we don't want to print that all over it. So what I'm going to do is actually go to the schematic again, and I'm going to lay down 3 components now. So this is how I do holes to hold the board. What I do is I go to connector, and I put in some 1-pin connectors. So I put in 4 of those. Okay, and I use the no connect flag there to put some no connects. They're not connected to anything. We don't want them connected to anything. Again, we need to annotate the schematic. So we've got them as P4, P5, P6, P7. We generate a netlist. Again, same name, and then we run CVPCB again, and we should see that we have 4 more connectors. Now I've created a part which is for a 3mm hole, and if we actually have a look at them, let's look at that on the side and that on this side. So if I highlight the 3mm hole, now I've got 3mm hole which actually has a an edge which is big enough to cover the head of the screw. And we also have one which is called small head, which doesn't have quite enough to cover the head. So I'm going to try this one, and I'm going to put that in for all of these. I'm going to save, and then I'm going to go to my PCB, and I'm going to read the current net list. What that's done is brought in these 3mm holes, and if I move those, you'll find that there's actually if I move that, then you'll find that there's actually 4 of them, 4 paths, 4 footprints I should say. They're not connected to anything. What I want them to do is fit perfectly on these nice points that Dangerous Prototypes have already created. Now the grid isn't small enough for me to actually hit that midpoint, so I need to change the grid to 5, and then we should be able to fit right on the edge of that. So I'm going to move one of these. I'm going to move him right over that hole. Now there's a bit of an issue here, so I'm going to have to sort that out, but I'll show you how to test for that. So I'm going to move all of those to the right positions, approximately the right positions, within less than half a millimetre, 5,000th of an inch. They're going to be in the right place. One of these days I'll just create a board which has these already in. That would be more sensible. But for today, not quite there. So now we have those holes added. So I'm going to save. The next thing I want to do is actually remove all these dimensions, because they're actually cluttering up the space now. So what I want to do is go back to my schematic. I'm going to delete this component, which was the PCB outline. I'm going to rebuild my netlist, and then I'm going to read the current netlist, and I'm going to delete extra footprints because now it's an extra footprint. So I'm going to read the current list, and it asks you if it's okay to delete them, and I think it is, and there you go, it's disappeared. So now it looks a bit nicer. We've got a bit more space to play with. I'm going to just move a few things just to give me a bit more space. I'm quite happy with that. That's good. So the only thing I'm worried about here, this track is very close to that hole. In actual fact, that's too close. If you want to check that, what we can do is I'm going to save it. We can do what's called a design rule check, which is under Tools, and it's DRC, design rule check, and that checks that everything is in the right place. So I'm going to run that, and we can see here that there's been some error messages. There's actually, if I open it up, there's 2 error messages. If you click on the error message, it will take you to the place where there's a problem, which is right where I said. So what I'm going to do is change that line so that it does not interfere with that. And I'm going to save that. I'm going to run the design rule check again. Now there's no design rule checks. The problem, there were 2 errors, one of which is because the hole was too close to the track, and the other is because the track was too close to the hole, so you get 2 errors. So the last thing I want to do for this circuit board is to copper fill both the front and the back with ground. So it's just a ground plane, it helps with noise and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is go to this here, which says add filled zones, and I'm going to make a big rectangle, which I'm going to, when you click in one corner, see it says BCU, bottom copper. I want it connected to ground, and there's various changes you can do here. I'm not going to go through all of those at the moment. If you click on OK, it starts to create this box which we can keep moving round all the way around our circuit. Outside of the edge cuts is best. And then we get this kind of hatched line on the side. That means that this is a filled area, but we haven't actually done the fill yet. So what we need to do is, on the filled area, we need to right click and do fill or refill all zones. So let's try that, and you can see now it's laid down a whole load of copper on the bottom of the thing, but it's missing everything it needs to miss. It's also doing what's called a thermal relief pattern for the ground connections. That means it doesn't connect it directly to all the copper, and it means it's easier to solder these ground pins because there's less heat-sink metal for it to go out. So the last thing to do is to add another filled zone. This time it's going to be on the top copper. I generally just go a bit further out and I use the front copper, but it's still connected to ground. Then I create a nice big box around everything. And again we get this nice hatched area, and we do fill or refill, and now we actually have copper both on the top and on the bottom, and it's all connected to ground. So I've noticed a few things. Want to watch this is all a bit cramped, just having a think about that, so I'm going to move some of these letters. I'm going to move that number to that's the connector number. I'm going to move that down a bit and in a bit. Right, I think we are pretty much there for a nice little circuit board. Fits into Dangerous Prototypes standard case sizes. I'm quite happy with that. Probably not the most efficient board we could have made. So there we are. That's shown you how to do a board. I'm going to do another little video just to do how to post-process and how to get the outputs and check that they're okay. And I'll go through my checking procedure. But hopefully you're at the point where you've got a nice little circuit going.